Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the Afterschooldawah podcast. Assalamu alaikum, Saad, Ahmad, and we got our guest. His name is Ahmad. He has a brother who looks exactly like him called Muhammad.
We had to confirm which one it was.
Well, they had to. I knew him for long enough to know.
Sure. You forget the most, doesn't he?
No. I never get them wrong.
Really?
He doesn't.
Wow.
Yeah. We've known each other for how long? It's been like...
When I came to this country, first family to meet and longest friend since then.
Where from?
2007.
Bangladesh?
Nah, Austria.
What?
You lived I used to live in Austria.
I never knew this.
MashaAllah.
Bruh,
Yeah,
mad.
but yeah, so you just finished your A-levels this year, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about anyway today. So A-level results day was on the 13th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I always hated, yeah? My birthday is on the 12th of August, isn't it? Every time, GCSE results day, AS results day, A-level results day, they're always like around my birthday. So I can never relax, you know? Everyone's like, "Your happy birthday, bro." I'm like, I was too stressed out to be happy, mate. Yeah, happy birthday for me. But yeah, anyway, so we just had results day 2 days ago now, so today's the 15th, and we'll probably upload this on the 16th. And yeah, we decided to make this podcast episode around A-level results day, around more focused towards those of you who perhaps may have not gotten the results that you wanted to get. You did not get into the university you wanted to get, or you did not get into the course you wanted to get. I'm pretty sure that all of you who got all of these things, you probably don't need any advice. You're probably just going to go and do that. But for the rest of us, that's what it's for. And of course, Ahmed, he finished his A-levels this year, so he got his results 2 days ago as well. And Saad, Ahmed and myself, we had A-level results 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, like right now, like we're all in university, we're all doing different things. So in this episode, we will be talking about our experiences, you know, our grades, how much it mattered to us in our life thus far, and how much it will matter later on, you know. Because the thing is, for a lot of people, they kind of fall into this trap where they believe that, you know, everything they can accomplish in life is based on something you do in an example. You get me? You know, they think like, oh, you know, like, you know, you can't do anything else other than what you're doing in the example to be successful in life, which isn't true. You know, obviously there are plenty of people who, you know, perhaps didn't even go to university, but they're successful in the real world. And what you realize when you actually try and apply for jobs, right, especially like you know, when you're in the business field and stuff, you know, qualifications don't really matter too much. It's more about your experience. It's more about how you conduct yourself, you know, how you approach yourself in the interview, innit? You know, it's more about you showing them that, listen, I can do the work, I can learn quick, I can do this, I'm committed, I'm responsible, I can think quick, this and that, you know. So qualification, they start to think less of them. However, you know, when we're doing our A-levels, for some reason, you know, the people that standardize these tests, they just think they're so sick, and every year they just try and make it harder and harder. You know,
outplay the students,
they try and outplay. They think it's a game. They're like, yo, how am I gonna trick this year's students? Yeah,
You remember GCSE Hannah Sweets?
Bro, remember all the memes from that?
Yeah, it was on the news, you know.
The BBC. I remember BBC did a video of like how to break down Hannah Sweet's question or whatever. It's like a 6-minute video how to break it down.
It wasn't that hard.
Well, I mean, like.
Well, I get it, yeah.
What subject?
It's just that it was confusing.
What
It was
subject?
maths.
What's the situation this year? Because I'm hearing bare stuff about, you know, downgraded grades and stuff like that. Like 37% of students.
It's 40, I think.
40%.
I read it was 40.
So what's that about?
Basically, the teachers, they gave like a grade that they thought we were gonna get. So it was called CAG, Center Assessed Grade. So they gave the exam board what they thought we was gonna get. So for me, it was.
So is that your predicted grades?
Yeah, but
Also, you're working out grade as well and stuff like
yeah, there's predicted grades, and then there's working at grade, and then there's CAG, which is Center Assess grade. For me, it was A star AA, but then when I got my results 2 days ago, it was downgraded by 2, so I got AAB. So I'm part of the 3.3% of the population who got downgraded by 2 grades.
And what's the normal?
50% of the population, which is the majority of the percentages, they got the same as the CAG. But then like 2.2% got 1 higher, and then like 1% got 2 higher grades. 1 grade lower is like, I think it was 4%, and then 3.3%.
So basically, like almost half got lower.
No, you said the same.
Majority got the same, and then like very little people got less and more.
Just under half got lower, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the problem with that?
Is really out of your control, basically, because they say
closer to the mic.
They say the grades was based off like your whole year, achievements, like what you got in your marks and whatever. But 40% of the results of what the teacher gave, 40% is lower. The actual grades is 40% lower than what the teacher expected.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really match up.
Yeah, but obviously, like for A levels, the way it works is that you have an exam at the end of the 2 years, and that exam is worth 100%.
They changed it, so it's not AS and A level. They did it to
it's
A
A levels. And you know what? That's why, like, for a lot of people in it, like they'll ask me about university and stuff, and I'll tell you, I'll be straight. University is easier than A levels by far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because the content is easier. I'm saying that like the way it's structured is much easier. For A levels, imagine you do 2 years worth of work, and then at the end of those 2 years, a 1.5 hour exam is going to determine your grade. That is a lot of pressure, and that is very dependent upon how you are on that day. Whereas for like university, you'll have exams and assessments and essays and stuff throughout the year, so you can build on your grade, and like let's say 1 week you have a bad week, fair enough, but it's an average between all of them, innit? So it's much easier for you to get a better grade at university than it is at A levels, right? And I think that's a really important point for a lot of people, because a lot of people they like, okay, you got your grades 2 days ago, and you might have not gotten good grades in it, and right now you're thinking, you know what, maybe I'm not cut out for this education stuff. Right, maybe I'm not, I can only get into like maybe this university, but maybe I'm just not going to get into university. I'm not going to even try university. And I guess for that, I wanted to really talk to Saad about his experiences, right? For those of you who don't know, obviously we'll go more into it, but Saad, he did his A levels at Stratford Grammar.
Yep.
Stratford Grammar, and then he went to MMU after that for forensic computer science.
Yep.
And then now, alhamdulillah, he is going to do his masters at Imperial College London, which is, like, I checked it just before in it, is 9th in the world,
Yeah.
9th in the world. Subhanallah. So I guess the first question I want to ask is, okay, what did you get in your A levels?
I got 2 C's and a D.
2 C's and a D.
2 C's and a D. Yeah. And alhamdulillah, man. You know what it was? It was just, everything happens for a reason, and this happened for a reason, clearly. So after A-level, I was pretty much like, I remember on the day my cousin was here as well. My cousin from Pakistan came, and it was like, it's a bit of an embarrassing moment, innit, when you get like, because my cousin's quite smart, mashallah, like he's a hard worker, and he also did software engineering in Pakistan. So it was kind of embarrassing, like, to get, because he went with me as well to Stratford to pick up the results. We picked him up when we see 2 C's and D, and we were like, what the heck's gonna happen now? So I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But the thing is, before I got my results, I went to UCAS, checked it in the morning, and MMU had given me an offer. So I knew I'd got into uni, but at that point I was like, I want to see if I can get into a better uni, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, even if I don't get into uni, at least I'm going uni to an extent, right? And then basically I spent the entire day like I searched up Aston, I searched up like I don't know like De Montfort, I think I looked at basically the other mid-range unis in it, because I knew I wasn't going to anything. I think I applied to Uni of Leicester, and yeah, basically they also was like either clearing short, like, we not got enough like places, or we just can't take you with your grades. So alhamdulillah, at the end of the day I was like, okay, well, actually one thing that made me change my mind from applying anywhere else was obviously it's like where are your friends going, right? So I called up my friends, and to my surprise, basically all of them were staying in Manchester. Like even Ahmad, you were going to Keele, but you were
out of all of us, it's like I think only me and Anas and Z.
Yeah.
Only us lot moved out for uni,
Which was the
and
biggest
also
shock.
And Anas
me moving out for uni.
Everyone moving out is
the thing is, Anas even moved out for the first year. I remember he was at.
Yeah, he stayed at home.
Yeah,
he stayed at home.
Oh yeah, he commuted.
Yeah, I remember seeing him first year. But yeah, anyway, I called everyone up and it was like, yeah, we got places at University of Manchester. And a couple of my friends were like, oh yeah, we're going MMU. So I was like, okay, well alhamdulillah, that worked out because I'm not going to be alone then, at least. So yeah, I went to MMU for 3 years and I came out with a first, alhamdulillah, and I made so much progress in terms of my what's the word, professional life, because I made contacts. I made my tutor, he knew a couple of people. One of my tutors was in he knew people, senior members from the Greater Manchester Police.
Jeez.
So I could easily hit him up and say, listen, have you got anything like I could do? That led me to like connecting with other people. Obviously the tutor's really nice and stuff. This is not like a sponsored ad for MMU, but it's alhamdulillah, it was good, right? And throughout that, forget
why you
else.
should go to MMU.
Forget all of that. It wasn't even that. It was the fact that as soon as I got in, bro, I'll tell you a story, right? First year, throughout college, alhamdulillah, throughout my entire life, I've been practicing because I come from a strict kind of family background. But I've only practiced for the sake of practicing. I never practiced because I knew why, right?
Yeah.
There was no reasoning behind it. I just knew I had to pray. And there was like some maybe like glimpse of reasoning, like, oh yeah, it makes sense to pray. Like a very surface level, right, of understanding of reasoning.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything deep. I didn't connect to it. I didn't feel anything. If I missed a prayer, I was like, oh crap, I missed a prayer. It wasn't like, oh crap, I missed a prayer. It wasn't. It was like, what am I gonna do now? I wasn't in that state of panic, right?
Yeah.
Like how I'm now, alhamdulillah. I panic when I miss a prayer. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? Alhamdulillah.
That's good.
So first year, what happened was, is that I was. So I met the current VP of ISOC at the time, and I met the Dawah lead as well at the time. And both of them, we were just walking. One day I was just talking to them. I made friends with them quite early on, within like a couple of weeks of being at uni. And we were walking down Oxford Road, the main road where all the universities are. And I don't know what the conversation was about, but I remember it was essentially just me just chucking questions at them. Questions that I had my entire life. I was okay. Why is there evil? Why is there this? Why is there that? What this? What that? What blah, blah, blah. How this? How that? Right?
The deep questions.
Basically, all the deep questions, and throughout that entire 2 to 2.5 to 3 hour period. So we were going down Oxford Road, walking down, and we ended up going back to the prayer room. And we sat down there. We were just talking about it, and that entire experience, wallahi, it changed my life. It was something completely, and I still remember to this day. And I cited this on I think the first episode of the podcast too. And I still tell my friends to this day. And the funny thing is, the VP, I still talk to him now, ex-VP, he doesn't remember it. He's like, bro, subhanAllah, like you can help someone in so many ways by giving them just sincere advice and nasiha, and they would never even realize it. Like you yourself would never realize that you've helped someone to that extent, but it's changed their lives in so many ways, just by you giving that simple advice. So yeah, alhamdulillah, and then university ended, and I tried my best to get a good grade. Alhamdulillah, I came out with a good grade with all the dua and efforts of my parents and my friends and myself, of course, alhamdulillah, and Allah. Applied to Imperial.
Yeah. You know, before we go into that, right? So obviously you mentioned that, like, obviously you went and you got professional networking, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get to that too as well, inshallah. But I think the first thing would be, okay, so, you know, obviously you said A-levels, you got CCD.
Yeah.
And then at university, right, alhamdulillah, you got a first.
Yeah.
What would you say was the main difference between the two in terms of your working or your studying?
I'd say for me, A-level, I'm trying to remember what my mindset was back in. To be fair, I went to a sixth form, right? So it was much more of like a structured school program. Like you basically go in 9 o'clock, come out 4 o'clock, right? Or half 3 or whatever.
As well.
You have to wear, well, we wore smart casual, but yeah, it was essentially a uniform, right?
It was like high school.
High school, yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. You went to like a proper college. You went to a sixth form, right?
Yeah.
But you could wear whatever you wanted. So it was that structure of
Grammar school.
A grammar school.
it was just that general structure of go in, go out, and that was my mindset for most of it. And I think what really helped me change, especially in university, was the fact that my dad told me this. He said, listen, before I started my course, obviously I picked computer forensics and security, right? And he told me, listen, you're going to a course, you didn't choose medicine, you didn't choose engineering, or you didn't choose any of like the kind of traditional subjects, right? And he said that's fine, because he actually supported me. Alhamdulillah, my parents were very supportive of me doing computer science or computer forensics or whatever, right? And he said, but the only warning I've really got to give you is that no one in the family has done something like this, right? A subject like this. And no one is, you know, obviously, my dad's a doctor, my brother's a doctor before me, right? So he was, I think at that time when I started university, he was in Birmingham doing some placement work as a junior doctor. So he gave me this warning. He said, listen, no one's done this before. It's all on you. If you mess up, it's you, no one else, right? We can't give you help. You have to get help yourself, right? We can't do your work for you. Like, we might not be, like, you know, if you had done medicine, maybe we can, like, help you with some, like, assignments or whatever. But we can't do that either. So it's all on you. So that mindset I had throughout my entire university, you know, experience. It was just that it's me. I need to get this done. Because in A-level, right, you're asking the difference. In A-level, I had friends, but they were all really smart. I'm not gonna lie, bro. They were all really smart, right? MashaAllah. So it wasn't like, it was so funny as well. It's because I had this issue where I had to end up choosing a foreign language, right? I did Urdu at A-level actually, because I couldn't actually
Rip in Pakistan, yeah.
I couldn't actually do other subjects that I wanted to do because of like scheduling issues and stuff. But anyway, I remember I used to be sat there with like 4 hours free in a day. And they would be like, oh bro, work on your project, do this, do that. I'm like, yeah, but like, I can't be asked, bro. And they'd be just like, bro, I don't know how they did it, bro. They made like such concise and perfect notes. So you get these people where like they highlight like certain parts of it and they color code it and then do that. I'm like, bro, how do you spend this much effort into your work? Mashallah, I can't even begin. I just write like scribble notes now. Like, this is important. Just remember this.
Bro, like 2 months say like, wait, what does that say?
So I didn't have that.
Wait, what are notes?
I didn't have the initial like. For me, the major thing between A-level and uni was I had nothing driving me towards getting a good grade. There was nothing. There was no motivation.
It was kind of like, I'm doing it because you know my parents.
Exactly, bro. Same thing with my religion as well. It was just, you know, I have to do it for the sake of doing it, not because I have any reasoning behind it. There was no goal. There was no motivation. There was no like, you know. Even in uni, to be fair to an extent, I was like, firstly, I was very arrogant. Astaghfirullah. I was very arrogant, right? I was, bro. I walked into the first lab of a unit, and I had done the work already. All the lab work because they're releasing it. I'd done it all. I recorded myself doing it, right? Because I recorded, because you do it on the screen, and I recorded the screen and I took it in, bro. That tutor shut me down. You know, she said, "Nah, do it in front of me right now." She ignored it.
This recording's fake. Do it here.
She ignored it. She was like, "Nah, do it in front of me right now. Like, do it in this lab right now. I don't care about the recordings." Well, she didn't say that, but she was like, "Okay, cool, yeah, sure." She said, "Nice way." She's like, "Okay, cool, yeah, sure." She said, Doing
you
the
do
slab though. Don't leave the slab without doing that. I'm gonna ask you before you leave. So she shut me down.
Why'd you do it? You wanted to leave early or something?
Yeah, exactly. I was that arrogant, bro. I was like, yeah, I know this is. To be fair, first year was quite easy for me because it was covering a lot of stuff from college.
Yeah,
But that got my ego to a level, and alhamdulillah, I was shut down because if I wasn't, then I don't know what I would have done really. But yeah, that was the main goal. That was the main thing behind it.
Yeah.
No more.
So you had more of a strive. But what was your strive to get a first in university? What was the reason? Because you
Honestly,
said you
the
didn't
fact
really
that
have
it was a 70%, I was like, oh, that sounds easy.
it was like, yo, this is achievable.
Legit. Pretty much, it's the highest grade you
Why
can
not?
get. Yeah, exactly. It was the highest grade you can get. I was like, listen, if I get a first, and to be fair, my course is something. Sorry, my field is something which I told Ahmad this as well. It's something that it doesn't require a degree. There's so many people like. To an extent, in jobs, there's still like this idea of like if you don't have a degree, you're kind of stupid. Yeah. But it's a lot less now in my field, especially.
Yeah, especially with like the growing need for like apprenticeships.
Exactly, apprenticeships.
Like
yeah, and it's like you can. I know people. Well, I've heard of people. I don't know them, but that have just done like self-taught themselves programming over like a year, mastered it fully perfectly, and they just go straight into a job. I've got a year worth of programming experience. I know how to do this. Get an entry-level job at 25k, boom, that's it, they made it.
It makes sense, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I know a lot of people, like my course, I do accounting and finance, right? A lot of people, they did accounting and finance, and they told me that, when I went into my job, my degree prepared me, like, did not prepare me at all for my actual job. Because we don't learn this practical stuff in our... in accounting and finance. Definitely. In accounting and finance, we learn the history of accounting and what they did in 1982. We learn theories and this and that. We don't learn practical things. And you know what? If I was a business and I knew this, right? Why would I want to get a uni graduate with no experience instead of someone who had like, let's say, 2-3 years of experience at an accounting firm? And he's
even just as a receptionist or whatever.
Yeah,
because
exactly. They probably could do a better job,
yeah, exactly. But the motivation for getting a first was just basically that I knew that if I got a first in this, then that actually is something substantial. Because bro, if you go on LinkedIn, there is a sea of computer science graduates with 2 1s. It's a complete all over the place, right? There's a select few. There's more than a few, but there's less of a number that have a first.
Yeah.
So that instantly, just by mathematics of simple, this number is higher, this number is lower, therefore this number is worth more. You stand out more. So I was like, I know I need to get a first. That's my first goal. Then my second goal was that I need to actually, throughout my university experience, I need to actually talk to my tutors and make connections that would actually be valuable to me afterwards. So I talked to my tutors. I was like, listen, okay, I just got a general gauging with them, what kind of things they do. Some of them were postgraduate, assistants. Some of them were doing like PhDs. One of them was in connection with GMP. So just get to know people, basically. Attend
What do you mean by like get to know them and build connections? Like for example, for me, I never even remember tutor. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's pretty much what I mean. Like so in university, you have a personal tutor, right?
Yeah.
You're assigned until third year. At least for me, my personal tutor was the same as my supervisor. So the supervisor I got assigned for my final project was my personal tutor also. But generally, you have a set personal tutor that just checks up on you every 6 to 8 weeks, I think. And they just see how you're doing. They will check your, well, for me at least, they check the attendance, say, oh, why is it this low, blah blah blah, make up an excuse or give it a legit one or whatever. Right?
We don't condone lying.
We don't condone. Podcast. No, I'm not saying lie to you personally. To be fair, they're very understanding. I remember one time I said, oh yeah, okay. So I think he said, why is this attendance low? Why is this unit attendance low? Why are you not going to these labs and lectures for this specific unit? And I said, can I be honest? He said, yeah. I said, no, I don't see a point. I said, I can do all the work because they released the work already before the lecture or lab starts. I can do the work easily before that, right? I have more than enough time. And when I need help, I will go to them in the office hours. Usually I don't really need help with it though. And they said, calm, fine, whatever. Yeah. They'll understand. It's not a big deal. As long as you explain your absences, they're not.
I think with universities, like for example, for me, right, my attendance was low, like really low. You know, I'm not gonna say it in this podcast because my dad's probably gonna be listening in. But my attendance was pretty low, wasn't it? But the thing is, I never got like in trouble for it because I was getting good grades. It was like, bro, you know, for them it's like he's getting good grades, so why do we care? Like he doesn't go to lectures or
It's
something.
not primary school. I'd have to be here every second.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's more for like, let's say if he's doing poorly. Yeah, if he's doing poorly and his attendance is poor, then it's like there's a correlation. So yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that, you know, I think the focus would be like for universities, they sort of treat you more like an adult in that sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they're like, okay, look, they're the ones that are paying to be in the lectures.
Yeah.
If they don't want to go, fair enough, they don't want to go in. You know, that's on them. And then if they're getting good grades, fair enough, they're getting good grades in it.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. And I think that is sort of one of the reasons why people tend to do better at university, because suddenly the responsibility is on your teacher, is on you.
Yeah.
You know, you're your own person. You know, if you don't want to go, you don't want to go. Sometimes when we're like forced to do something, we're less likely to do it. Like I can tell you, like let's say I'm like planning to clean my room today. Yeah, I'm planning to clean my room myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do it. Right? Just before I go, my mom's like, clean your room. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. No.
Sometimes I'll be doing something and my mom will like, yo, go do that. I'm like, I'll just drop it off.
It's like, yeah, I don't want to do it. Because then you feel like a kid then, innit? You feel like, oh, someone's forcing me to do something. Even if it's something you want to do. But at university, no one comes to your door. No one says, oh, you're doing this. You don't get detention and stuff in it. So it's more like, okay, look, I'm doing it for me.
I mean,
detention at university.
That was another reason, to be fair, kind of related to that. Although it was mine, it wasn't a major reason for me, but it was a reason of trying to be like, bro, you know how Asian parents are in it. Throughout your entire flipping education, they'll be like, "Oh, you're stupid, bro. You can't do this."
Your cousin did this.
They'll compare you like, bro,
exactly.
look at these results you got, man. You're weak. You're this, you're that.
You know, bro, your cousin back in Pakistan, got like 10 A stars in his O levels.
It's even worse for
I
me.
used to get over 100% in my exams.
Just get 120%.
Out of 100 marks, the teacher could be 105. What?
You know
my
what?
dad actually said that once. You know,
Did he?
I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, why? It's like, because he likes my handwriting.
Your dad was like, come on, you should learn it. You need good.
Once he was like, my handwriting is messy. He was like, I made it so nice the teacher gave me extra marks. Man. I don't think that's how it works, but sure.
Probably in Bangladesh, bro. 120%, bro.
No, but bro, my brother-in-law actually said something. He backed me up in it after I got my results. Early July.
What A-level?
No, for uni. Sorry, for uni. He said something. He said to my parents. He came up to me first and he said, "Yo, now your parents can't chat." And then he even said it in front of my parents. He was like, "Yo, listen, I told yous both." He said to my mom and dad. He said, "I told yous both that he'd get a good grade in it. Now he's got a good grade. You can't chat." He said that in front of them. I was like, "Bro, this guy's backing me up." Did
you say like, "Yo, my guy's going"? Did you say like, "Yo, my boy's going London, bro"?
Yeah, no, he's going. He said he's going to. I think he said it. He said he's going to Imperial. This that. And he's got a first. Right, and what did he do all throughout his 3 years? He played games, He played games. He did random stuff. He went out, right, and he did all...
with the podcasting,
bro. When?
No, I mean like with generally in it, like because they have this argument that you're going out all the time. My parents used to say this. They said, well, "You're going out all the time."
Going on.
Well, to them, I was going out more than I was normally.
Bro, literally in uni, you're gonna be out every day.
Yeah, well, no, they meant like to your house alongside like other places and then going out to eat with
I was
friends.
a bad influence, lads.
Yeah, bro.
He was in Leicester.
Oh wait, yeah.
No, when you used to come back, innit?
So were you visiting him long time?
Bro, I come back on holidays though.
Yeah, but to them, they think I'm not revising or whatever, and not doing my coursework, whatever. But like, even when, bro, I'd be watching I just finished like 6 hours doing coursework, right? And I'd be watching a video just to relax. My mum would open that door exactly and she's like, "Bro, you're not revising this."
Yeah, every time. I hate that, bro. Like, bro, like for me, the way like I revise in it, the way I found works in it is like I don't like doing it based on time. Like I'm not gonna revise, but I'm gonna do like, let's say I'll do 10 questions from this paper or something, and then I'll take a break. Then I'll do 10 more questions. So I'll do 10 questions, then I'm taking a break in it. I'll watch like an anime or something. As soon as I start the anime, my mum walks in like,
Always watching these cartoons.
Always watching these
Bro,
cartoons.
you know what
bro.
excuse I used to give to my dad and my mum? I was like, bro, Allah is my witness. Allah knows. I don't care what you think. That's what I used to say. They used to shush. That's it. They're gone.
Nah,
They
my parents
just walk
wouldn't do
this-
that. My
close my
parents
door and
wouldn't
walk
do
out.
Nah, his dad wouldn't take it.
Nah, my dad wouldn't take it.
My thing is, my dad takes it because he knows it's true. And he's
My
like, bro,
parents
I know you work. It's calm. But anyway, yeah.
You'd be like, Allah witnessing you watching anime. Playing games.
But yeah, alhamdulillah, my parents are quite understanding. So yeah, they help. They supported me throughout, and they said, but my mum was always kind of worried in it because she was always like, okay, I'll be near to finishing first year. She's like, okay, make sure you don't slack off, make sure you get good grades. I'll be like, yeah, okay. Second year, she would say the same. Even third year, bro, I had a consistent good record of getting good grades, alhamdulillah. And she was still like, oh yeah, I'm worried. What? I don't want you to mess up. This. It's a general concern, but it seems very condescending, innit? To you know a very young and passionate 18 to 20-year-old, right? It seems quite.
That sounds Instagram bio, bro. Very young and passionate 18 to 20-year-old.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just alhamdulillah.
I'm kind of the opposite to you guys. So like you guys mentioned about you guys don't like the exams being right at the end. For me, I'll give you an example for GCSEs. For GCSEs, I relaxed like a lot. In my marks, I got like average, but then like everyone in my class, they would start revising like 2 months, 3 months before. Me and my brother, we were just chilling, we were just playing, and then like literally.
That's what my mom told me.
Literally like.
I was like, yo, listen, you know Ahmad,
They
always
study all day, 8 hours.
24/7. And then look at you.
3 weeks before though, 3 weeks before the exams, then I actually revised, and even then, I shouldn't say this, but even then, in those 3 weeks, I'll still play games.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to.
And even on the exam days, after doing the exam, let's say I had another exam in 2 days' time, I'll still play a teeny bit. Yeah, but after my results for GCSE, I got really good grades. I thought I failed some of them.
What did you get?
I don't know if I say okay, I got.
Oh, you don't need to say. You don't need to say if you don't want to.
Yeah, I got basically really good grades.
You got
really
grades.
good. Alhamdulillah, I was so surprised.
Yeah.
But the main reason why I was surprised is because I went to a grammar school, and I think it's rated highly. So in my class, I would get like good. I wasn't like the smartest, but I was like smart. So I was thinking, I'm just in GCSEs, I'm gonna get like how I would be performing in class. But actually, because I realized, I'm actually competing with the whole nation. So like, if I wasn't in a grammar school, I'd be in set 1 in like the non-grammar school. So then I was like, okay. So then it actually made sense that the grades I got was good, because grammar schools tend to be like, more higher.
Yeah, they're all smart. I think it's kind of like what Saad said with like Streff, like all his friends are smart.
Yeah.
So sometimes like if you're I'm gonna make it quite crude in it, but if you're around dumb people, right, then you feel smart, but then you feel like you're obligated to do well now because you're the smart one in the group. I
was with like smart people, and also another thing which is kind of disappointing is this year, because of coronavirus and everything, I couldn't have done the same thing. So like, it was out of my control. The government decided based on my performance, but with me and my brother, we usually just like knuckle down in the last few seconds, and we outperform. Because like, I shouldn't say this, but again I'm gonna say it. For the mock exams for A levels, for mock exams, I should have revised more, but I didn't. I was relaxed, so I never knew that this coronavirus was coming and we would actually do this.
And I think that's a good point to take, is that make the most of the opportunity when you get it. It's not because like, if I was in your shoes, bro, I would have done the same thing as you. I would have relaxed, like not really cared, right? And then if that had been the basis for my end of year A levels, I would have been screwed. But if we get going MMU, I probably wouldn't go to university at all. I'd probably just have to retake the year. My mock results were terrible.
Because I think if I did the exam and like I would have got better results. But alhamdulillah, because I don't really need good results because I don't want to do medicine anymore. So, but it's the opposite for my brother. He got his grades. He got his grades back, and it's not enough for medicine. So now he either has to do a gap year or go into foundation year. Not foundation year, like a course similar to medicine, and then through that course he can go into medicine.
Yeah, I guess like one thing you realise, especially when you're applying to universities, is that grades, they're not anything special. They're kind of like an entry requirement for them.
Pretty much.
You know, it's like, oh, you got AAB, great, you're in. They don't care. Like if you get 3 A stars compared to AAB, it's like, so you're still getting in. You know, they don't care. They'll give you the offer either way, innit? So obviously, so when you get grades to be able to get into the university, get into the course you want to do, that's calm. Well, obviously for Muhammad, he wasn't able because medicine. What was the requirement?
It's at least AAA.
AAA, so 3 A's, and so he wasn't able to get together, and that was because like, so how did coronavirus affect it? Was it now based on your marks? Is what you're saying?
It's based on everything you've done. So
basically, like your teacher gives you a grade.
Yeah, basically, so basically the teachers decide from your marks, your like end of unit exams, and also your homework.
Bro, I would have failed. All my teachers would have been like E.
Yeah,
maybe just F.
Which like most of.
It's kind of like an average of all the grades put together.
Yeah, everything, and then the teacher just like, okay, let's say it's AAA. Then they send it off, and then the exam board see this, so AAA. But then they also, I think, which is unfair, they look at the previous year, how in that college, what the previous year, what they got,
and they look at demographics.
Yeah, which is really unfair because
they check demographics and based on progression of a certain area or something, like as a neighborhood or whatever. They looked at these factors as well, and that counted
or
for
the
the
school
grade.
itself.
Yeah,
if you're a really smart kid and a really like don't average school, then you're gonna get screwed.
Yeah, but the government did say there's this thing they introduced because of this situation, called the triple lock. So if you don't like if you don't like your grades, you can appeal. You can either say, okay, you want your mock grades instead.
Yeah.
If it's better, you can choose that, or you can choose your teacher's predicted grades, or you can resit the exams. Not resit because we've never done them, but sit the exams in autumn. Autumn.
Imagine doing that.
So whichever one's the best, you can choose that. But to appeal is very strict. So I appealed. I don't know why I appealed, but I appealed just to get better grades. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the reply.
I don't get to knuckle down and then apply.
Appealing, if you think, if you think they made like an error in the administration, so like they might have sent your results incorrectly to the exam board,
right.
Or if you think you face discrimination, and you have to show evidence for it, so either like postcode discrimination, so like where you live, or other forms of malpractice.
I saw this post. It's like this dad who was expecting results from his son. His son was predicted like A star, AA, something, whatever. I think it was on Twitter or whatever. And then he came out with like a BD and a U or something. And then he was proper vexed. He's like, how does this make sense? You know, and it was clearly like something aside from predicted grades and working out grades, because he was doing really well. He's predicted well, and then he ends up getting like a lot worse than he was expecting.
Yeah, things might change though, because in Scotland,
they reversed it, didn't they?
I think they did.
They all protested.
They did protest, and now I forgot. I think it was they choose their the results. They can choose their teachers' grades without appealing.
Yeah,
that's good.
Which is good. So I could have got better luck.
The reason why they did, I think one of the reasons they did it in the first place because they were like, teachers are just gonna hype up their students in it, so they can go to uni.
But
then in the end, what it is, it's like
It's like, what does that matter to the example?
say people are applying though to uni. In the end, it's like A levels only so much, right?
If
It's
you
like, it's like as Mo said it. You can get A star, or B, and still get into the same uni. You know what I mean? And then once you're there, that's when it really starts. I guess.
It's like if a teacher hypes up their student, fair enough. Like, what does that have to do with you? Because by the time they get to uni, if they got hyped up like fake hype, like it wasn't actually real, right? Then they're just gonna mess up at uni and they'll drop out.
Yeah.
But if it's actually legit, then obviously they go to uni.
Fake hype.
I mean, like, yeah, because some students have done that, innit? Some parents will go to a teacher like, listen, just give them like 2 grades a bit higher.
Oh, okay.
You know, like those type of deals. And then the teacher will do it.
Teacher will be like, okay, hey, I see you probably.
Yeah, maybe. That's what kind of happened.
Well, 2 things here. Like, firstly, you know, I think with that type of situation, like, I agree with Ahmed, innit? It's really, really stupid. Like, you know, it's one thing for, like, you know, when you go to college, right, you know that, okay, they tell you that, like, okay, your A levels is going to be based on this exam that you do in 2 years' time. Right? So then after that, if you tell them, oh wait, no, never mind, your A levels is going to be based on all your homeworks for the past 2 years that you've done, like that's very unfair. You're basically lying to them at that point. So it is not fair at all, innit? And to be honest, like, let's say Ahmed, right, you said like you prefer like having an exam at the end, innit? But if let's say you go into university and you already know from the beginning that, okay, I'm going to have assessments, you know, every 3 months, right, and that's going to count to my grade, then obviously you're going to be doing well with that. You're going to be making sure that you revise for that. It's more about knowing, innit? It's a bit sneaky when you don't know. And bro, you know what I don't like about, like, let's say teachers at A levels, right? So imagine this, alright? So obviously, like, you know, GCSE A levels, you do GCSE 2 years and you're done, right? A levels you do 2 years and you're done. You move on with your life. Who doesn't move on with their life though? The teachers.
Oh, right.
Right? The teachers, they're still there. They're still there with the next batch of students. And then, like, they're teaching for 15, 20 years. Guess what? Their whole world is now, like, based on A-level results, GCSE results. And that's everything that matters to them. And that distorted worldview, because it is a distorted worldview when that's all you think about for 15 years, innit? They don't think about, okay, university, this and that, you know, the reality of the world, innit? So then that distorted worldview is sort of projected onto the students now, right? Because I can say this, like, from college, right? I remember, like, economics, innit? I wasn't doing well in economics, and my teacher, he just acted like I'm just gonna fail in life, literally, bro. And I remember this one other teacher, I do not like her one bit, right? I remember she was like, oh, you'll be lucky if you get into MMU, you'll be lucky if you get into any university. And I'm like, it was local motivation, not gonna lie, but she didn't treat it like that. I'm telling you that now. And I'm like, why do you care so much? Like, you know, it's because they've been living it for 15 years. It's that deep to them. Like, A levels is a matter of life and death to them. So then when you give them the responsibility of, okay, you have to decide on their grade now, they're gonna be thinking about how, oh wait, that one exam, that one homework he didn't hand it in on time. See, bro.
I think, like,
this kid, he's got weird hair. Give him an E, bro.
I think you're right, but you're also wrong. It's like, I agree with you, but partially in it, because obviously with the distorted worldview, that would be right. But then again, it's quite subjective in it, because I had a teacher in in college. He was a chemistry teacher, and we were talking about A levels and stuff with him. It's proper sound teaching, one of the cool ones, you know, the ones that you have boys with.
Yeah.
And then he was like, in my A levels I didn't get that well, you know, like I got C's or D's or something. And I was like, wow, you're teaching chemistry? He's like, yeah, but then even after I went to do a degree in chemistry, and there I am teaching chemistry at A level. He's like, A level isn't all that, trust me. And then, so I guess
But that teacher, how many, like, what is the percentage of having a teacher like that compared to not?
You're more likely to get a more stuck-up teacher that does.
Like, that is, I've never met a teacher like that. I'd say that would probably be like maybe 2%. You know, I maybe 2-5%.
It's like, because I think they like to stress the importance of A levels, a lot of teachers, just because that's all they're there for. So then they're just like, yo, you gotta do, you know, they've got to try and push everyone and say, you know, if you flop this, then that's it.
they're deep.
They don't obviously go on for anything further, and they're just there to teach A levels. So then that's their entire responsibility there.
But isn't it true, like, because one of my teachers, they said that these A levels are really important because like if you go to a job, every single job interview
No.
or whatever,
Bro, they don't give a crap.
they don't.
Honestly, they
I
don't
got a
give
job
an
in
absolute
HMRC.
Did they ask for
We
your?
didn't even ask.
Bro, I got a job at BAE Systems, bro. $1 billion company. They didn't ask for my level.
Nah,
I
like,
got
for
a
example,
example.
you know, when I was looking at graduate jobs, right, like all they care about is, okay, what did you get for your degree? That's it. Like
And like,
your
what
degree
skills
and
you
your
gained?
work experience. That's it.
Occasionally GCSE, but that's only to see if you can
Bro,
speak
imagine
English.
Nah, like legit.
Legit.
Okay,
Just
so
English. Just add
the only sort
right?
of the only sort of jobs that care about GCSE or A levels is either apprenticeships, right, or if you're doing like a placement year or
Yeah,
something like that. Placement years, they'll ask for like your GCSE or A levels in it. But then when you look at graduate jobs, they don't care. They don't ask for that. You know, they look at your
Yeah.
No, placement years don't even ask for that anymore. They ask for what your predicted unique grade is.
They do, but they also like when I was looking at placements in it,
Oh,
they
right,
also
yeah.
asked about like GCSE, A levels in it.
Right.
Well, at least the main ones like English and maths.
English math, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but the thing is like I remember like watching a video in it, and it was about how like the education system, how it is now, is exactly the same how it was 100 years back.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? You know what originated like what made the education system the way it is, right? Originally, they took it from factory work, bro. Yeah. So the way factories work,
Well,
the way
is this just in Britain or all around the world?
all around the world, like obviously, like places like Finland who have changed their education system is different, innit? But I'm talking about the standardized education system that we have now, innit? It's like, okay, so factory work, it was standardized, right? And you know they would have scores, points, you know, and they would be graded A, B, C, you know, and this sort of system where they're all standardized as in one unit, like everyone's the same, everyone's the, and you know, and then that is sort of what developed the education system of a classroom, of getting grades and this and that, because every single student is, you know, is given the same test, the same marking and this and that, and that's based on the assumption that they're all the same.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's like a saying in it, like you can't teach a fish how to climb a tree.
I understand. Yeah, it's like everyone's a genius, but if you measure a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life thinking it's an idiot.
Exactly, and that's why, like, let's say Finland, innit? Finland, they completely changed their education system now, where it's become more like more based on the individuals in it, rather than having a standardized test for everyone, as if for all robots or something. And now they're doing better than most other countries.
They're like at the top of all the world's thingy education system.
Exactly.
It's literally a form of primary conditioning and positive reinforcement, isn't it? It's like, right, you do this, you do well, you'll do good. You don't do well, I'll say you're trash.
I want to ask a question linked to this, like standardizing. You know, during exams, did you guys go to like the exam hall 15 minutes before, like for GCSE? So like you come to school, you'd chill with your friends or like revise like 1 hour before, and then 15 minutes before the exam, would you go to the exam hall?
We'd like line up outside and the times.
We just get our notes out.
Just set us
And
up.
then
I wrote in the line. We
Yeah,
just
in
have our
line.
books and you'll read this.
we question each other.
Remember this equation.
Yeah. Basically, me and Mohammed, we always, every single time, everyone would go 15, 10 or even 5 minutes before. We would go like literally 30 seconds before, just so we'd have more time to revise. And we'd always be the last ones. Every
you'd be
single
outside the door. Wait, just swing me 1 second.
people would be thinking, oh, we're doing this for jokes and do like as if it's funny, but we were just doing it just to read more. And
take
every
advantage
single
of
time.
that last few seconds.
Yeah, because what's the point of waiting there? 5-10 minutes just chilling there? What?
Slowly forgetting the information.
Slowly forgetting. So we were just reading, and then even like while we're walking towards it, we'd have paper reading, and then when we go in, we'd just like dash it away, and then just go in and do the exams. You're saying, you don't like how they handled the situation with the coronavirus and A-levels, but what's surprising is even though like 40% of the what the teachers expected, 40% of the results was downgraded. Even then, after that, this year is the record high for the most A stars and A's. So, like I think it's from before the record was in 2011, most students with A stars and A's, but this year is like 2% more than 2011.
I'm not saying that, this year they're being very unfair in terms of like people are getting bad grades. I'm saying they're being very unfair in terms of their grades are being based on something that we were not told we're being assessed on.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're gonna have all those like goody students who like just really want to impress their teachers and then try good for like every homework. Obviously, they're gonna get good in it. But then like the reality is, if I'm being told like if in any situation, right, if I'm being told like okay, listen, I want you to do this at 5 p.m. in it. And then 5 p.m. comes, I do it, and then the guy starts complaining about me not doing it at 10 a.m. I'm like, no, you told me to do it at 5 p.m. so that's when I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You told me to do my exam at the end of A levels. Now obviously we know that there was circumstances in which no one was able to do their exams in it. Fair enough, delay the exams. Delay the exams, or okay, they did mock exams in it. Based on your mock exams, and then I like the idea where you said, I think you said the 3 locks.
Yeah.
So you got the option of doing your exam or having your mocks. But how easy is that option?
I'm not sure, but you know what's annoying? Like even it's on the news and stuff. They're saying it's making a mockery. Because no,
pun intended right there.
Because in different colleges and sixth forms, they don't always have the same rules for mock exams. So like people already might have known the content on the mocks. So and also a lot of people cheat. Like I know people in my college, like I know friends who cheat and they know friends who cheated, and that's why they're saying that just use the teacher's grades. Hopefully, I don't know. Inshallah, it does happen.
Yeah.
I mean, by that time it'll be too late because unis are going to close down.
No, they're saying to unis open, have spaces cleared, and also they understand that overseas students are less likely to come. Yeah. So there's going to be more spaces. Yeah.
So okay, let's say right now there are students out there who, they might have appealed, they might have tried this, they might have tried that, right? But you know what? They didn't get good enough grades. Now, firstly, there's obviously parts. Like there's students who didn't get good enough grades to get into university, right, or to get into their course. What advice would you give to them?
You can always look for alternative options. Like, I know a person. He wanted to do aerospace engineering. But because of the situation, he got grades which is not sufficient for the course, so he tried to go through the foundation way, and I think he's got a place there. And that also reminds me that when I was trying to apply for computer science, I was thinking, okay, let me first try to get a course with the foundation year, because I didn't do computer science at A level. I did maths, chemistry, biology. So like I need the practice. Foundation year will be just like A level computer science. But when I tried to look it up, they were all gone because everyone's got lower grades in that similar situation. All foundation courses for computer science were gone at my uni. But what was the funny thing was there was a space in computer science normally, like 3 years. So I got space there, and I got after there now. Alhamdulillah. Yeah,
alhamdulillah. And then, when you think about it, like, obviously everything that works, it works in supply and demand. When it comes to business, when it comes to anything to do with money in it. So, let's say you didn't get into university, right? And let's say you wanted to do computer science, right? Like Saad told us, like, there are people who all they do, like, not all they do is good. Like they'll go online and they'll learn, programming. They'll learn this language and that language, and then there's so many opportunities now. Like you can do freelance work, right, and have that as your work experience. You can easily get work. Go somewhere and volunteer for work, right, as an internship, as opposed to apprenticeship. Or you could try for an apprenticeship at a place in it. And there's so many different options. A lot of people they think like, oh, I need to do GCSEs, then A levels, then university, then job. Not a lot of people do. Like a lot of people would do that, but that's not what you need to do. In reality, is like you find a lot of people like they'll be like, yeah, I got a degree in psychology, but I'm doing accounting and finance. You know, I have a job in accounting and finance. You know, and yes, your degree doesn't even matter.
I know a girl who was on our course. She's joined our course in it, and then I think after first year she dropped out. She's wanted to do a course somewhere else. Next thing you know, she lands a job at HSBC Bank. Out of like 5,000 applicants, she got shortlisted in like 10, and they took 10, and she got one. Like yeah, so like she literally dropped out of uni and got a job in the bank, and she's still going back to uni, but she's still working there. But like it's crazy. It just shows like your options are so broad still. You know.
Yeah.
And like her A levels weren't that great either, and like they weren't even half to do with our course, to be honest. But still managed to get in. It just shows if you got the skills and experience, if you can get it, you can sell yourself as a
exactly.
As a person,
and it's like I think like school and parents and stuff, they limit you to what you see the world to be like in terms of what jobs are available in it. You think like all it is like either I become a doctor, an engineer, or I don't know. If I'm not a doctor or an engineer, I'm gonna have to be a plumber, bro. That's it. You know. And then like you know everything's based on your subject, and there's only like oh yeah, I can become a maths teacher, biology teacher.
My mum used to threaten me, bro. Well, not threaten, but she's like, oh, like if you don't. This was during high school. She was like, if you don't do well, you know, in GCSEs, that you're gonna become a bin man. I was like, well, bin man isn't that bad, bro. They get paid like 20 grand, you know. But you know what it is? I think people. I've mentioned this so many times in previous episodes, but it's Dawah is also key. It's important. I think there's a hadith that says. I'll paraphrase it. Dawah is something that can change your fate. So qadr, right? What is written for you, Dawah can actually change it, right? And good deeds can extend your life. Pretty much, that's the gist of it, right? So good deeds can increase your lifespan and make you live longer. Well, not obviously for an infinite amount of time, but you know, like they can extend your life for a certain brief period, right? And Dawah can change your fate. And I wholeheartedly believe that to be true because there's been
that's a very powerful thing.
Exactly, like there's so many times in my in university especially, and even before that, where I was basically like, right, I have two options. I don't want to do either of them, right? None of them is good for me. I need a way out. If I do one, I'm gonna get screwed in some way. If I do the other, I'm gonna get screwed in some way. I need a way out. So I just make dua sincerely. Within a few days, I find a way out somehow. From a place where
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can open doors that you don't even know existed.
Bro, literally, I would be like, I never even considered this as person. All the nasiha, all the advice I got from my parents, from my friends, none of them told me of this one specific thing. And somehow, within the next few days, I find out about this one specific thing.
It just comes to you.
It just comes to me, and it's like, where the heck did this come from? No one told me about this. All the professionals are. No, just generally in it, like I'm talking about like doors opening up, like all the people I've talked to, they don't tell me about this like one route, and you know, it's a specific way to go about it, and it just opens up.
Carrying from his point about Dawah, I'm like hearing from your parents' like stories. I'm feeling more grateful because alhamdulillah, my parents, like even though they want me to do medicine, it's like from before I went to high school, primary school, that. Like,
you're gonna be a doctor. Boy.
But they weren't like.
But you just born. You're gonna be.
They weren't like you know like really forceful.
You see this room, you're gonna come back here.
Live himself.
They were like, okay, we want you to become a doctor, me and Muhammad. But so I was like, okay, yeah, I want to become a doctor. I never had like any other aspiration except being a doctor. So high school and college and then after college, after we finished college, we finished in March because of the coronavirus, and then after finding out my results, I was like, oh okay, I don't want to do medicine anymore. So it was a bit disappointing to them, but they always made dua for me. So like, for example, yesterday in the morning, I didn't wake up yet, and I was supposed to call my uni to get the offer for computer science, and my dad was there already awake. He woke me up, and before that he was making dua saying, you know, he was making dua for me to get the best place, and bam, literally 4 minutes after I wake up, I asked for my dad's phone, called them, boom, I got a place. Alhamdulillah, my parents always been supportive, and especially my mum as well. They always make dua, and it's also an example with my older brother. He did everything. He wanted to do accounting in uni, but then for some reason he went to civil engineering because my dad was speaking to him saying, "Yo, I don't think accounting's for you. Do engineering." He got into engineering, and before he got his results after he finished uni, he got a job already at a decent company, and then after 1 year, not even 1 year, like a few months, he got married straight away. And everything went so fast for him. He even says himself he's really lazy, but he wants to do everything quick. Like lazy smart. Yeah. So like everything's going perfectly, mashallah, for him, alhamdulillah. And more, I think everything is because of our parents' dua.
Subhanallah, man. I guess it probably brings us to the final point of this podcast, is the fact that like a lot of what we discussed today, it kind of brought this idea of uncertainty. Our life is full of uncertainty.
Sure.
You could work really hard and boom, coronavirus came, A-level results, you get 3 Ds. This can happen, that can happen, and it's full of uncertainties. You can get all A stars, get into the university you want, right? And then after that you're struggling to find a job. Or you find a job, you don't like the job, right? Meanwhile, your friend over there who got the 3 Ds, he's chilling, Alhamdulillah, he's balling, he's got this really good job, and obviously because the world always changes, back in the day traditional jobs were the only jobs. Now traditional jobs are the jobs that are getting left behind, innit? Now it's like, especially with the internet and stuff, like it's so much easier for someone to become an entrepreneur, someone to have their own business on their own, something online as well, innit? You don't need an actual shop. You can legit have an online store and then like have one room in your house full of inventory, and that's it. You just post it through Amazon delivery, man. So the world changes, and what we need to realize is that we have no control over that. Like there's only so little we have control over, and the two pieces of advice I'd give: one, work smart, not hard. Like Ahmad said, work smart, not hard. So many people work hard, but where does that leave them? It leads them into, what was it? The rat race, innit? They just become, an employee who's unsatisfied at the end. But when you work smart, you look at it, you look at it objectively and tactically, And the second and most important thing is, like Saad said, make dua to Allah. But don't just make dua to Allah. Prioritize Islam, bro. Like you need to put Islam first. It's only when you put Islam first, that's when you can trust Allah. Your duas are only as powerful as the trust you have in Allah. Like let's say if you make dua, you're like, Ya Allah, give me, a really good job. But then you're making it, but you don't believe in it. Then is Allah going to accept your dua? Of course not. In a hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says that I am to my servants what he thinks of me. So if we don't think of him as someone who can accept our dua, he's not going to.
True.
So obviously, how do we think of them like that? We can't just say, yeah, I trust Allah. We have to actually develop that trust, and to do that, you have to get closer to Allah, innit? So our first priority should be Islam. In my opinion, right? I haven't said this before, innit? But subhanAllah, like this last year especially, like I realized, like Saad, for example, right? I've known Saad for 11 years now, subhanAllah, right? And this last year, like that's when I'm sure Tamid, you probably realized it too. Like we realized like Saad's really on it with Deen. Like I saw him like really making sure he prays. I remember we'd go and sometimes when you go out with your friends and stuff, you tend to forget about prayers. But then Saad would be there reminding us like, oh wait, we got Isha prayer, we need to pray, and we pray in Jama'ah, innit? And then Saad's there like, yeah, he's learning Arabic. He wants to do Islamic studies. And like I remember like his Quran recitation as well is gotten so much better, and like I can see it, right? It's one thing for Saad, and the thing is, Saad never told me that, hey Muhammad, I'm trying to be a better Muslim. Like he never told me that, but you can see it through his behavior, through his character, and wallahi from that, I knew, because you just know when you learn about Islam, you know this, right? The fact is like, I knew that Saad's on it with Deen, his life's gonna be calm. That's how it is, and it goes to show, innit? Yeah. Got first. He's going to the 9th ranked university in the world. You know, and I can also testify to that. Like, let's say, university. Alhamdulillah, I think I've done a lot better at university than I did at like A levels and stuff. And a lot of it, like it's kind of like what you would say, people. Like, I don't go lectures, like Ismail, he'd always be like, oh man, you never go lectures, you never do anything. and then alhamdulillah, like, I get good grades. I'm not saying I don't work for them. I work for them. I just don't like going lectures, innit? But I don't work as hard as the next man, But especially like, let's say first, second year university, I was really on it with Deen, bro. My priority wasn't even my grades, it was my Deen. And then alhamdulillah, my grades were good with it, It was only when, like, let's say, when my priorities shifted from Deen to grades, what happens? Suddenly the pressure's on, bro. Because when your focus is on Deen, bro, what pressure is there? You're thinking like, bro, I might die tomorrow, bro. I need to make sure I go Jannah. That's my pressure, bro. None of this matters, and it just makes you think, like, let's say the stress you get during A-level results day, right? You were probably very stressed out.
No.
Nope. Okay. he was.
I was chilling. I was saying whatever I do.
It happens, isn't it? But the reason for it is because innit? Because here's the thing: when are we really gonna be stressed out, though? We're gonna be stressed out on the day of judgment, bro. That's when you're gonna be stressed out. Because imagine that. That's like the test for your life, bro. That's the test to say whether you're gonna go into Jahannam or Jannah. And the beautiful thing about that test is that the one who judges that test is the one who is fair. Like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is going to give you the best judgment. There isn't going to be any like bias. There isn't going to be any of like this and that, like postcode discrimination.
I was like, you come SK? Oh yeah, gender, bro, gender.
There's not going to be any like coronavirus, There's not going to be this and that. There's not going to be any errors, any problems. Like, what you get is actually what you deserve. And like, there's comfort in that, and knowing that, look, if I put the effort in for this, then I'm gonna get that reward for it, 100%. And then suddenly, when your life is focused on that direction, then yes, you're gonna do the other things, but you're not gonna care too much about whether, like, oh yeah, it might not work out, because your trust is in Allah, and Allah wants you to be successful. Like, you make dua to be successful, obviously you're gonna be successful.
With putting your trust in Allah, on Friday when I was listening to the khutbah, I was listening, and he was mentioning a story after one of the many battles on the Muslim side in it. So there's one battle they had, and after they won the battle, alhamdulillah, with the will of Allah, and they came back, and it was the largest like bounty, or like amount of like spoils of war that they ever received. I think he said they had about 24,000 camels, about 10,000 cows, and 6,000 prisoners of war. And that was the most that they've ever received, right? And he goes, when the Prophet ﷺ was distributing it to the people, he said he was literally giving some people, he's saying, here, take the 100 camels, go. And in that time, it's like 100 camels worth so much, it's like people will become millionaires overnight. It's like, imagine like from one.
Was it offered? I think this was.
Yeah, I think so, probably. But yeah, from one moment of having to barely owning one camel, which is already seen as something good to have, people are owning 50 or 100 camels and becoming like literally millionaires overnight, essentially. And then I was just like, subhanallah, like overnight Allah just changes people's lives, like just like that.
It's not even just people, it's people now, bro.
I think even Imam Mahdi, the guy that's going to come after and lead the Muslim army, it's said that at first he won't be someone who's very practicing or religious. He will be a normal person who will then overnight Allah will give him guidance, and he will become who he will, essentially the leader, which is it's like crazy to hear. Like the leader of all the Muslims will be someone who wasn't even that practicing or religious at first, and then just change his entire life. So yeah, putting your trust in Allah is definitely 100%. Probably the biggest factor that can ultimately change your entire life. And then after that, put the work in and leave your trust in.
Yeah, and then like it's about your mental state, innit? And when your trust is in Allah, in someone who you can rely on, yes, you can put your trust in your manager, in your teachers, in your boss, you know, in your guidance counselor or whatever, innit?
Mm.
But you can't rely on them the way you can rely on Allah, innit? And I think it's a really important thing. Like, let's say, let me ask you a question, innit? And to be honest, give whatever answer, innit? Like, do you think you can plan the next 15 years of your life out?
Unless I'm Eisen from Bleach, no.
Yeah, exactly. But we've been doing that our whole lives, innit?
Mm.
You know, we're like, okay, I'm gonna do GC. Like you
I
said,
was thinking, oh, I'm just gonna do
yeah,
this.
yeah, exactly.
You
And the
have
one
an
was like,
idea
I was like,
for
you
it,
said
yeah.
before, like primary school, bro, primary school GC. Like everything was leading up to medicine, and then, bro, just before that, just A levels. That's when you're like, actually, I don't want to do medicine.
It was like probably 1 month ago. I
Yeah,
decided- not even 1 month, probably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. I decided, oh, nah.
bro. Okay.
Because with the grades I got, I could have applied to
So
medicine.
what made you make that decision that you don't want to do medicine and you want to do computer
Yes.
science?
Like, you have to have like a type of attitude, personality. Like, you have to be able to have the passion. Like,
For sure.
if you actually go into medicine, that's 10 years to become like a GP doctor.
Yeah.
10 years. And
Like the same thing, yeah.
to become a surgeon is even more. You have to have a lot of passion for it. And like, I found out a lot of stuff when I was like looking into medicine. Like, at least half, this is like recorded, so it'll be more. At least half of the medical students, they go through depression. They actually go through, like, they have depression. So
You can imagine because it's a very stressful job.
yeah.
Mm.
You
No,
know?
no, students, medical students.
It's
At uni,
stressful
at
classes
uni.
as well, though, stressful
Yeah,
classes.
Yeah.
it's tough.
At uni. At least half, and a lot of them drop out. A lot of them drop out. So it's not worth it if you're not passionate.
Bro,
about it.
imagine the
Yeah.
50 year students this year. They forced them to, when Corona hit, they forced them to work in the hospital.
Yeah, they're all doing
Yeah.
placements.
Yeah,
they're all doing
literally
placements.
Yeah, that's
That must be so scary, bro. I
Imagine
think
just-
even some fourth years were doing it. I'm not sure about that, but I know
Going from
50.
just studying the course and doing practical labs
Yeah.
and full on hospital and yeah, it's scary, man. They literally skip the entire training period after they get their degree.
degree, yeah.
'Cause
yeah.
after you get a degree
You
in
get
medicine,
two-
you have
you
to
get 2
train
years,
for
yeah.
6 to 12 years or
The
something.
junior.
No,
yeah.
you train for two.
Two.
Yeah, and then you specialize for however long.
Yeah, whatever you want to go into.
Yeah.
And
I know that, like, a lot of people,
skipping that and going straight.
like in college especially, you know, like I'll speak to people, they'll be like, yeah, I want to do medicine. I'll be like, okay, why do you want to do medicine? They'll be like, oh, because you get a lot of money. I'm like, who told you that? Did your parents tell you that you get a lot of money?
It was funny. My friend, I went with high school with him, and he came with me to college. I never expected him. He was like the class clown. He no offense, but like he wasn't like smart. And but his brother, he's doing medicine. So then he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what course he wants to apply, and he decides to go for medicine. Literally, he didn't know anything about medicine. He didn't know you have to do work experience to apply for medicine. So
You have to do a certain type of like exam course thing.
And like he only had one interview, and that was from Manchester, but he failed. But I think everything's Allah's plan. So
Yeah, some people learn that way.
yeah.
You gotta learn.
So like, don't choose medicine if you're not passionate about it. 100%, because
Don't choose any course.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you should choose anything if you're not passionate about it. You know, like a lot of people, like in the past, yeah, in order to survive, you needed to be able to ensure yourself, an income, a stream of income. Nowadays, it's very easy to get a job. Like, honestly, I'm not talking about for immigrants, man. I'm talking about for British-born people, right? For us who were born in the UK, who went through a school system, it doesn't matter what you got for your GCSEs or A-levels. It's very easy for you to get a job and get a life going, bro.
Yeah.
Even now, like, it's not even called minimum wage anymore. It's called living wage because like you're making a living. And then with that, obviously you get this job and you can work up it.
Exactly.
I remember, I can't remember who it was in it, but someone, he worked in a hotel as like bottom level management, bro. And he was only able to get bottom level management from working at McDonald's, bro. And then after that he went through like senior manager and this and that.
It was like
making
talk that we went to.
Was it?
Property investment.
Was it him?
And then he
I
quit.
don't think
Remember
so.
work when he saw.
But yeah, he was on 100k salary for that. 100k salary. Never went to university for it though. you know, and it just shows like you can. And then obviously, like, let's say you work somewhere. Like,
You work smart, not hard.
He works smart, not hard. And then you work somewhere, bro. That gives you, like, let's say you work somewhere 9 to 5 in it. The rest of the time, you can start and build your online business. You can do this, you can do that. You know, don't stay in that square because we don't live in a square anymore, innit?
Bro, you know Gymshark, that company, right?
Yeah.
You know the CEO, you know how old he is?
How old?
He's like 20, 21.
Bro, and they make...
Yeah, if he bought Gymshark, I think, or like he made it, or like something, but basically he owns it now. He bought at 18 or 19 years old, and now
He bought Gymshark.
something like he either made it or I can't remember. All I know is I saw a bit of his
There's that
videos
kid though, innit?
yeah.
I saw him a couple of years ago. He sells like, he's like 16 or something. He lives in the US, I think, and he sells, you know, sneakers, innit? They call it sneakers, trainers basically, innit? Like crepes. They sell. I don't know his name, but he sells them to like people like DJ Khaled, to like Drake.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
to like
yeah,
this, to that.
Reseller.
Yeah, he's a reseller. And bro, guy makes like a couple of hundred. I don't know how much he makes, but he makes like tens of thousands, maybe a couple of $100,000 of dollars a month by selling that.
No, yeah. 19 years old. This guy called Ben Francis founded Gymshark out of his bedroom in his house, parents' house.
Yeah.
Now look at him.
And he works smart, you know, he contacted the right people to show off the product, to make it something iconic. Like, you need to understand that none of this is based on what you did in the exam hall.
Yeah.
You know, like, your entire life isn't based on that. There's certain courses it is.
The guy succeeded because he got
Imagine going top level job, CEO of the company. He's like, I just got one more question for you.
What did he get on how to speak?
You know, how many species?
Prove the N squared minus N.
Oh my god, I'd cry.
That was a funny
Imagine
question.
you've smashed everything. Yeah, it's like, alright, just one more question.
No, but certain jobs you have to go.
No, yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to say. Like, let's say medicine, you need, like, that's the reality. Right? But again, certain jobs, I wouldn't even say that's the majority of jobs though.
Yeah, I know. That's
You know, like,
right.
how many
So
jobs can you say that you need to get a certain qualification for?
Yeah.
How many?
Like
Right?
10 max.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
not
only
10,
certain
No,
specialized
like,
jobs.
There's a lot.
Well, how do
The
those
ones we
fit
know
into
of.
like
No,
the
no,
10?
like 10 fields of jobs.
10 fields,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, probably. Yeah.
You know, and that's it, like specialized fields, and that's it. Outside of that, like, yo, even I do accounting and finance, innit? I know plenty of people who do accounting and finance, who are in accounting, and they got a psychology degree. I don't know them, but I've heard of plenty of people like that. Right? And so it just shows them, like, there's so many other things. But obviously, try your best to, you know, do best where you are now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the main thing. Like I said, don't plan 15 years ahead. Plan what you're going to do for the next year, what you're going to do for the next 5 years.
Yep.
And then
Sure.
try and build on that. Be optimistic about it too. Don't be too, like, unrealistic. Like, yeah, in 5 years' time, I'm going to have, like, a multi-million-dollar empire in America.
It's like,
you
have
know?
a 15-year goal, but have a 1-year plan.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have your 15-year-old goals. You know,
15-year-old what? Go.
Of course, bro. Who doesn't want a 15-year-old goal?
Good point.
But yeah, have that, and then, you know, rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, obviously, I know that some people, you may have not gotten what you wanted to get, you know, and you might be thinking, like, you know what, it's unfair. Maybe you worked really hard, maybe you didn't, but you're like, it's unfair, right? Just do your best where you are now. See what options you have, right? We spoke to Ahmad about options that other people had, right? Clearing, right? Go through clearing, see if you can get into another university, right? You know, apprenticeships, see if you can do that.
Gap year as well.
Gap years, and then even appeal. Like, you know, this year there's options for appealing, right? And then if that's not the case, then, you know, and if you can't get into university, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, there are plenty of people who smashed life and they didn't even go to university, right? So yeah, maybe, you know, reset your A-levels, because you can do that. No harm in doing it. Reset your A-levels. Yeah, maybe some of the most stuck-up universities don't accept reset A-levels, but reset your A-levels, and whilst you're resetting your A-levels, like, try and, like, do something on the side and see if it pops off, you know, and then get your apprenticeship or something like that. You know, life isn't determined by, you know, what your parents think it is determined by.
It's not linear either. It's not one way is the only way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's fair on them because they probably thought that based on like how it was. Like, let's say like in Bangladesh and stuff, innit? I'm sure probably qualifications matter a lot more over there, or like the standardized testing qualification. What I mean, innit? For us, it's more like I remember I went to this like job fair thing, right? And it was a really big one in Manchester, right? And this was before I started university. And I remember there was this, it was PricewaterhouseCoopers, in it. So that's it's like one of the top 3 accounting firms in the UK. And yeah, so the guy said, he's like, listen, we care more about. I don't think it was PricewaterhouseCoopers, sorry, I think it was another one, but it was one of the top 10s. And he said, like, listen, we don't even care about qualifications. He's like, we don't care about your, like, he says, we don't care about your A-levels, we care about your work experience. And he said, because of that, we don't even like, we just want you to work with us straight after college, man. We just want you to get started, get some experience. And it makes sense, bro. If you're a business, you want them to know the business, how to work in real life. They get 3, they do 3 years at uni studying about, Adam Smith and his theory of economy back in 1982. And then suddenly that's going to help you today with your, with doing some accounts.
That's fair because you become a valuable asset to them as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, like I remember someone said like, because you do, let's say if you do an apprenticeship or a work placement with them, then obviously you're spending 1+ years, like they're spending 1+ years on you, training you. And then after that, they're not going to let you go, and then there you go, you got job security, bro. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, like, a lot of successful people, they're not successful because their main income is something great. They're successful is because they'll have that main income for that job that they like to do, but then outside of that they'll have like all these other investments, bro. They'll have 6-7 different streams of income. Like, you need to be smart, man. It's not it's not like, I got 100k income from this and that's it. Even the people with 100k income, they probably have other streams of income as well. You gotta look into investing and stuff like that. But anyways, with that said,
we'll say getting long.
It's getting very long, but I'm gonna go ahead. But anyways, with that said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, found it beneficial. Please do check out After School Dawah. Check out, should I say?
No, you don't. He stopped.
He stopped
because he has to. He has to. He needs to
deep, bro,
knuckle
deep.
down. You can, but.
Alright, we'll leave it for now then. But jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam.